everyone, and we're live. Welcome back to episode 3 of Conversations with, episode 3 of season 2, hashtag Beattheboss, js&a James Smith Academy Challenge, which is far too much to try and get out. But we're welcome back this week to Lauren, Nikki. Fiona's back from her week off last week, as is Shannon. Chris is ever representing, and Paul's also back. So a very different group to last week. I've had some apologies from Jack Foster, who's attending a family birthday celebration, and apologies from Stuart Kerr, who, as we spoke about last week, was spending time with his little boy, and he's going to enjoy the last of that family time tonight. So I think we can let him off for that. We're going to start with our week 3 progress updates. Then we're going to speak about managing your weeks when you are not feeling too great, feeling unwell. We're then going to go into, as we discussed last week, our deep and meaningful subject of family and friends, sabotage and support. And then we'll finish with rounding up with our week 4 goals and what we aim to achieve. So I'll start by giving Stuart's update. He's attempted, and he hasn't attempted another Murph yet, but he's going to do that on Sunday. He's been doing some running and Murph training though since last week, and he's managed to improve his steps, which was something he was going to focus on, but he still needs some work. He's moved up to maintenance calories because he was feeling that low calories with his Murph was just too much. And apart from that, he's reminding me with hashtag free Simon. So he's definitely still campaigning for that. Yeah, maybe you should join Kanye with his run for president. So that's maybe a different subject with a American in the house. And I know that he said he was running, then not running, and then running again. But hey, that's maybe a topic of discussion for Paul's stories. So yeah, welcome back. And now we'll if we chat with Lauren first for her week 3 updates.
Oh, sure. So pick on my politics, and then I gotta go first. That's fine. It's a circus here. I fully own that. Week 3 was good. You know, I was really I had a really good moment. I had a shit weekend. Let's just start with that. I had this whole great day planned Saturday to go out with friends. They all got way more trashed than I expected before I even got there. So I ended up having to play like mom and take care of people, which is just not what I wanted to do. But when I got home, you know, I came home and there was all this crap in the house that my ex had bought. And I literally sat down to a plate of it to like eat a bunch of stuff. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do this just because I had a shit day, just because like I had a shit night or whatever. And I'm really trying to work on that mindset that like, just because I had a shit day, I don't have to undo, because I worked out that morning. I was really happy with how I looked that day. And so that was a really nice moment on top of a shit day, if that makes any sense. So it's just, I'm just constantly working on mindset. That is never done. Like it's a little bit every day. It's every week. It's just that it's changing that mindset. It doesn't happen overnight. And it's something I'm always working on. So I guess it was a small win in a crappy weekend.
So that's a massive win though that you can take forward. And yeah, I've been doing Paul Mort's Unstoppable 28, and one of the things that as part of that is doing your 3 daily wins, even if no matter how small they are. And something like that would be something that, you know, I would maybe add to daily wins. And it takes, you know, massive courage to actually have that plate in front of you and then go, nah, not today, Satan.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you know, yeah, so well done for you.
Thank you.
That's cool. And I think we kind of discussed that last week as well a bit. You know, about not sabotaging herself just because we weren't feeling too great.
Yep.
So yeah, well, a big win. So,
Me.
how did you do with your goals?
Do you know what's funny is that my pictures are changing, but the scale isn't doing shit, and it's making me
That's a
crazy.
bastard.
It's broken. It's definitely
sad
broken.
It's just creeping. Like I worked my ass off last week and I lost 8 pounds, and I'm like, what in the ever loving fuck? But the pictures show like a difference, so I'm just staying the course and just trying to be patient. But I'm not a patient person at all. So
Yeah, well done. Everybody, you can unmute yourself if you want to join in. And, I just muted you for when I was speaking.
I just
thought
want
I
to
was
say,
on constant mute. I thought I wasn't allowed to speak.
Okay, yeah, well done for last week, Lauren. Nikki,
Thank
how was your week?
it was pretty good. I went up to see my parents at the weekend and family, and saw my dogs, all my family's dogs, which was lovely. And you may have seen on Instagram, I love him. Yeah, no, I had a really good weekend and week really. My goals last week were to try and sort of stay maintaining this week. Because the weekends with my parents are usually very boozy, very food filled, very good food. I don't mean good necessarily nutritious, but just like good home comforts, just lots of it. Managed to actually stay within a deficit and actually maintained weight as well, which is amazing. Yeah, no, quite a positive week there. Yeah, that's it really.
Well, I think that was one of your goals, was to get through that weekend, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, no, it was lovely. It was always going to be nice seeing people. It's just not to go overboard and having 7 gins a night, which easily. Yeah, no, it was really nice. I managed to sort of dial back the booze a little bit and just have a couple. Yeah, no, it was really nice, very special.
Well, yeah, well done. Sounds like a good week. How was your goals? How was your
goals?
Yeah.
So my goals loss. Yeah, I lost more centimeters this week, but again, the scale didn't move. The scale went up slightly, and I have to tell myself that going up by 0.1 kilogram is not as bad as it seems. It's 100 grams, which is nothing. But yeah, it's the sad step.
Yep.
But yeah, I like I weigh myself every day, then I watch the average go down, and I know the average is going down, which is good. But yeah, I think it's sort of stabilized a little bit, and maybe I'm not being perfect with tracking calories, I don't know, but the centimeters are going down, which is amazing. So yeah, still going, which is brilliant.
I think whenever somebody says maybe I'm not, they know deep down that they're not. I'm not calling you out on your bullshit, Nikki, but I am.
You are. That's fine. No, it's when takeaways are a bit difficult to track. And yeah, cook it like parents cooking. I didn't watch them cook everything, so I don't quite know exactly where to. I'd like to say I'm educated guesses and go a bit above, but yeah, it's fine. It's not gone up. That's the main thing.
You lost centimeters. That's all that matters, right?
Exactly. So there must be some muscle, maybe. Yeah.
Well done. Sounds like a great week. So Fiona, welcome back.
Thank you.
And I know that you decided to prioritize, as I said last week. So good on you for doing that, and actually managing your time, because I think it's too easy to say yes to everything sometimes.
Yeah, I've got a really bad habit of doing that, and I'd taken the dog for a walk, and I was like, I've got to get back. I need to have a shower before I jump on. I need to have my tea. I've got to get my steps in. I have to do my workout, and I was just like so stressed about it. And then I just thought, if I can just let one thing go, as soon as I thought of doing it, I just felt so much more relaxed. I was gutted about missing it, because I really enjoyed the first week. But I feel like I'm still stuck in like a bit of a funk with it all. I think I know that obviously lockdown's lifted, but without the gym, I'm really, really, really like, because I work from home as well, I'm not really going out anywhere. except to take the dog for a walk, and that's basically it. And I think when I think about when life was sort of normal, if I stayed in the house all day, I know that affects how tired I am, if that makes sense, and how like motivated I am. Whereas if I'm out and about, you sort of get the momentum going a little bit, and I just feel like I'm stuck in that kind of rut where I just don't feel like working out at all. And part of me is like, you know, don't wait until you feel like it. But then another part of me is just, I just keep having this battle between doing it and not doing it all the time. And I just cannot seem to find the routine. So I just took the pressure off myself a little bit and just thought, I'm just going to get my steps in and that's it. The gym's open again on Saturday and I cannot wait. Because I just need that space where I can just stick headphones in. There's no other distractions. There's no like, you know, no one's going to turn around and say, do you want a brew halfway through my workout? Or, you know, the dog's not going to come and jump on me. And it's just, I almost see the gym as like a bit of a playground. I can just go and just have a mess around with stuff. And I'm really, really missing it. So I think until I can get that back in, I'm just finding it a big struggle at the moment.
Well, I think with you know, some of the other progress you've made with, you know, when we all celebrated the fact that you got your college pass last week, so you're well done for that. Sorry, 2 weeks ago. And yeah, it sounds like actually you're doing really well with like actually making decisions about what matters. Okay, I don't really like training at home, and that's a bit difficult, so I'm just going to get my steps in. Yeah,
and that it's something that I really struggle with. I have quite a habit of putting too much pressure on myself, so I want to do everything all in one day, and then I just get overwhelmed and do none of it, which is just useless. But I have had some personal wins in the last couple of weeks, especially with college, which is a massive thing. I can't believe someone's going to trust me with clients next year, but here we go. And I'm doing a lot of training with the dog as well. He's come along loads in these last couple of weeks. So, you know, it's just one of them, like I've just been, my focus has just been on different things. And it's not that I'm saying, obviously this challenge is important to me, but if I keep putting pressure on to do everything all in one day and do it every single day, my head just rolls off and I can't do any of it. So just focusing on getting my steps in seems to have been working.
That's it, just focusing on one thing that you can control and can focus on. If you try too much, you can't do anything, but focusing on little bit by little bit, get your steps in. Right, okay, then can I do anything else? No, I'm tired, I've been working, fine, cut it off. But you can still celebrate that little win of getting your steps in.
Yeah, exactly. And once I'm back in the gym, I really do think that'll be a game changer, because I enjoy that. I don't enjoy trying to do a workout in the back garden.
And that's okay.
So
I think as well that because this is your first challenge, that you know, so many of us have been on longer journeys and things. It's the total journey.
Yeah.
If you make progress in many different parts of your life in that 12 weeks, and you look at actually where your life was 4 weeks ago and where your life is now, because it all goes hand in hand, actually it's a 12-week transformation, and you know, all those other wins are part of that, and they'll lead into all that other stuff. So, you know, keep going. It sounds like you're doing, you know, loads.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? I think when I signed up to the challenge, I thought, right, this is it. From the day that I start the challenge, I'll be really motivated then, because, you know, it is like everyone's in this challenge and stuff. And I think because I haven't found myself feeling as motivated as I thought I would, I'm putting pressure on myself, going, oh, like I can feel the self-talk coming in, going, you never commit to anything like this. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point as well? Just duck out of it. And then you've got to balance that with actually the circumstances that we're in are very different. It's just, I just struggle to get the motivation in. But I think once I can get to the gym, it'll be better.
My favourite phrase is that Rihanna told me the other day. determination over motivation.
Mm,
'Cause
yeah.
it's sticking it out. It's sticking out. It's doing just another 100 steps when you don't want to, or it's doing one gym session a week when you don't want to. It's pushing through when you don't want to. Motivation won't be there the whole time. It never is. It's miserable on a cold, rainy Tuesday morning. You know.
Yeah.
And I personally try not to tie my motivation to circumstances, because circumstances change. So like, you know, I would do something like, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to do this on Friday because Friday I'm going to be able to whatever. Well, if that variable changes, then I would use it as excuse to be like, oh, well, that didn't happen, so now I don't have to go to the gym. So while I'm so excited for you to get back to the gym and I hope everything changes, what if for some reason they push it back? What if something, you don't want to necessarily tie it to like that specific thing is the thing that's going to get you off the couch or get you going, because if they mess with you, that's outside of your control. That's not in your control. Maybe something happens and they push it back by 2 weeks. Then what? Are you going to wait another 2 weeks? Like, you want to set yourself up for success, not on variables you can't control. I'm a queen of that, of tying my stuff to variables that are outside of my control, and then when they fall apart, using that as an excuse to fall apart myself. So it's just setting yourself up to prevent that kind of sabotage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Well, yeah, well done. We're glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Shannon, how was your week?
It's been quite good actually. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm like back to like myself. I've been back at CrossFit. I couldn't physically move there for a few days.
Love
We
CrossFit.
had the first session back that we had was front squats, back squats, and the thrusters, and then the second day then was wall balls, and I was like, oh my god, I can't feel my legs. On the Sunday I was just like massage gun the whole day. So yeah, it's been good. I've upped my steps again. I'm not back to where I was, but I'm definitely getting back there. I'm aiming to be 10k a day this week. So yeah, and I've like just short of 2,500 thrusters done on my challenge goals. So I'm getting through them rightly as well.
Very nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's been a win this week again, thankfully.
Good. That's because 2 weeks in a row. That's consistency. And that's I think going back into like CrossFit with it being a real community. We're looking forward to that as well, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. It's still only 8 of us and like is allowed in the class at one time, but even the fact of getting to see different faces, because you don't know who's going to be in the class until you arrive. So getting to see different faces and get chatting to other people is good as well.
Brilliant. I've just thought of a kind of a subject that we could maybe discuss, and it's dealing with DOMs, and maybe we can throw that into the managing through illness. And,
which ones are the one in the bedrooms or the one? It must. I want to be careful where I go with this.
Paul, you throw in whatever you've got.
No, don't offer him that.
Yeah. No comment on it. Right, carry on.
Because I think that's one of those things that sometimes can limit us as well. So we can chuck that in. So yeah, well done, Shannon. That's and how's your journaling going?
Yeah, very good. I haven't been journaling every day because I haven't felt the need to like express things every single day, but I've definitely been journaling maybe every other day. But it's really helping, and I've suggested it. I know from the first podcast that I was on, I've had quite a few people write to me and ask how I've coped with it, and I've suggested journaling to them, and then off the back of it they've went and done it. So it's helping myself and it's helping others as well.
That's really warms my heart when I hear about listeners messaging people, guests, and asking for their advice, because that's what it's all about.
Even they've just been offering like a listening ear as well, and it's been brilliant.
So yeah, massive that is, and I'm really glad that you've given them that advice as well. one thing I've taken from Paul Mort's, I'm just going to share all of Paul Mort's unstoppable stuff. Is the journaling, even when you feel that you've got nothing to express.
Yeah.
Even if you write down, I've got nothing to express, you're keeping that consistency going.
Yeah.
And, so that might be worthwhile thinking about, is because actually then when you start to write, you might find that there's other stuff comes out.
Yeah.
But good. I'm glad it's helping you as well.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, and welcome back as well.
Thank you.
Okay, the man with the guitars. So it's week 3, Chris. You've still not got the guitars off the wall. So
I don't think it works really well over a Skype call or a WebEx. I don't know. I'm using that as good anyway. I might write a little song. No, I'm not. I'm really not. Yeah, my last week was all right. It was a bit of a mix. I had an aim to try and do my 5 workouts to catch up on the one I missed, and a bit of a curveball got thrown in last Wednesday, where I got asked to go to an interview for a new job, and I got up early in the morning and went from a workout in the morning, only for them then to cancel it. So I was a bit thrown all over the place. I thought, this is a bit shit. And then at lunchtime, I just put my earphones in and just went for a walk just to de-stress, to get it out of my head. And then they asked me to come back on Thursday instead, so to drive through Edinburgh, which is about an hour and roughly 1 hour's drive. So I went through and met them in the office, and they offered me the job on Friday. So it was all a bit of a whirlwind. I was like, whoa, this is a bit crazy.
Nice.
I've not told my boss yet. I can't imagine he'll watch this, so you never know. So yeah, I celebrated quite hard on the weekend because I've been trying to get out of the place I'm in just now for about 5 years, and finally found something that's worthwhile moving across to. So yeah, I had a deep fried, beer battered sausage supper and a quarter crunch.
Oh,
I
so good.
Saturday. And
Nice.
a lot of vodka. So it was good. And then, but I still managed to get my 4 workouts in, and I managed to do my 15 to 16,000 steps a day. So even last night, I was on 6,000 when I come home. We were away at a static caravan in the East Coast, and I come back about 6 or 7 o'clock last night, and I was only on 5,500 steps. And I was hungover, and I thought, right, I really need to get these steps in. So I just put my earphones on and went round the back garden and just kept walking around the garden for about an hour and a half. Because I thought, I don't want to go walking around the street, because I don't want to get halfway away and then not want to have to come back. Because I was in the garden, and I thought I can quit at any time, but I just kept it going anyway. But yeah, managed to get it done. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well done on the new job. What is it? What is it you're going to do? I work in IT consultancy sales. So the place I'm in just now has not been that great for a long time. So I've been trying to find something that's worth jumping ship and taking a risk to try something new. So I'm moving into something slightly different, but it's in the same industry. Well, yeah, a new break in current times is maybe not what you expected. No, it wasn't. Well, it's a weird thing. You're talking about, Lauren mentioned it earlier with Fiona as well. It's trying to find these little things and just stepping stones and trying to journal things. And I had in my head around Christmas time that I don't want to be in the same job come the summertime. And we're just exiting the summer, and it just so happened to fall into place where I'm leaving at the end of summer. So it's the thing that's just because it's been in my head. I've thought I need to make it happen.
It's something that James talks about. If you set yourself a target, like a timeline, it'll be that timeline that you do it in. Yeah, it just so happened that's how it fell into place, but I don't think it's a coincidence. I think because all the little steps I've been making on the journey to try and make it happen, it's just happened at the same time. I thought that's what I wanted to do. Yeah, absolutely, Shannon, on that, 100%. Yeah. And I think that's what we were just saying to Fiona there, is all those little steps might have to massive wins. So yeah, and I saw your story when you were at the static caravan, and I was really impressed that your lad was really enjoying the kind of the rock and roll. Oh, he loves it. And that was his playlist on Spotify. The strange thing is he's got a playlist on Spotify. He's 17, and he's got a playlist on Spotify called
before 2000s.
Oh my god.
I'm just like, and there's things on there like Kula Shaker or someone else. I'm thinking this is just heartbreaking.
Oh.
You've got things on there like Sammy Davis Jr. and
I know that. I think that's what he was listening to actually.
He's got everything on it. He's got absolutely everything on it. If there's some songs he starts to sing, and I think, who have you heard that before? He's like, do you not know who this is? And I'm like, my granddad knew who that was. Never mind me.
Yeah.
Shares your passion for music then.
Yeah, a little bit.
It must be nice to get away as well.
It's good, yeah. My sister was up as well. She rented one of the bands that was close by, just down at the bottom of the cul-de-sac that we're in. So it was good to catch up with them, get a few drinks. It was good. Good fun.
Great. Sounds like a good week. And then, you know, even with all that, you got your 4 workouts in and still achieving that amazing amount of steps. So I'd say that's a real big tick in the box for you at week 7.
That's okay. I think I'm slightly ahead. I think I'm averaging about 16,000 a day, roughly. And that's me just broke the 800,000 barrier, so I've got 800,000 left, roughly.
Sounds like you're on it, mate. Well done.
Thank you.
And just as we're about to speak to Paul, he's on the move.
No, it's all right. No, it's just dog was just going mental. So.
But Bobby's welcome on anytime, mate.
Yeah, he's been barking out. I keep muting because he keeps barking all the time.
So,
he comes. Hang on.
Mate, and,
Got another dog to sell, I said. That's good timing, mate, wasn't it? Yeah, my week 3 was emotional, I think is the best way to describe it. I wasn't very well. I think it's pretty well documented. I wasn't very well last week on Tuesday, Wednesday, after eating some very dodgy chicken. So I had a bit of a quiet week. Didn't really train much. I think I managed on the Friday to try and start doing a bit of training, which is good. Didn't really track my calories because I figured I'd pretty much, we won't go into massive details. Probably was in a deficit, I think, if it's safe to say. But the one thing I did manage is I was pretty chuffed with. Apart from the Wednesday when I was pretty ill, I managed to keep my steps going, which was good. So I've tried a little bit. It's not any of my challenge goals, but I have just tried to keep them going, which I did. So that was good. And I managed to squeeze a workout on the weekend as well. So just to try and make up for a little bit of lost time.
I'm glad you say squeeze out workout and not something else there.
Yeah. What's been like the whole chicken thing as well is just, I fucking love those rotisserie chickens, and the amount of people you chat to that, like Sinead said about it on and then I got chicken modded up in my fridge. It's why prepping is just bollocks. Like, you just open yourself for a can of worms to get dodgy food down.
No pun intended.
Yeah, and then I picked up the wrong tub, and I was like just about to go into a meeting, which is a disciplinary meeting, not for me, but anyway, no one that I know, I think, listens to this. He hasn't found out yet, but anyway. And I literally scoffed this chicken down, and I was like, that didn't taste very nice. And then, I was in a bad way after that. So I, just took some time out really, just to try and recover, caught up on all the podcasts I haven't listened to. So I managed to finish yours, Alistair, which is good. Took fucking long enough. Like Joe Rogan again. And caught up with some podcasts, some audiobooks and that sort of stuff, and then back to it now, which has been good.
Well, I think when I first saw your stories, I thought he's just fancied a couple of days off, and this is a cover story just get those couple of days off, and he had to go full hog and put it all over Instagram just in case his boss was watching.
Honestly, I
You
didn't
didn't look
even.
that
I
unwell,
was
mate,
actually.
if I'm honest.
Well, I did actually. I worked the Wednesday from home, but I sort of emailed my boss. I was like, "Look, I can work." I said, "But I don't want to venture too far away from a toilet." He didn't reply. So, yeah, oversharing information. Yeah, don't know about that. Anyway, but yeah. So I did actually. To be honest, the thing is with stuff like that, food poisoning, it doesn't last long, does it? Unless it's like a real. You've eaten something like, I think this was just a bit of dodgy chicken, but annoyingly, like I cooked loads of chicken thighs like that day as well, and I just couldn't face, I couldn't eat them, I'd throw them all away. I cooked porkless. I did smoke pork, I did pulled pork on the barbecue on Sunday, so I thought I'm staying away from chicken for a bit. I just cooked pork.
Yeah, isn't it funny? Sometimes your favourite foods can be dissipated by one bad decision.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, very, very bad decision. Yeah. Anyway, enough of that.
Well, sounds like you're back on it, and yeah, good luck for next week.
Cheers.
So that kind of leads us into our next topic about kind of managing when we kind of have those setbacks, I guess. Whether those are mental setbacks, your physical, your illness, kind of, what did you kind of just tell yourself, Paul, when you kind of started to feel better?
Yeah, it's actually so for me. I've actually really struggled in the past. I sort of, I think I've been quite open about my mental health, and I like to talk about it, but I'm very careful when I talk about it because you sometimes get the comments, "Oh, you're not trained in mental health." Yeah, I know I fucking not, because if I was, I probably wouldn't be a mentalist. So I'm quite happy to say that. But I've really struggled in the past where I felt like I haven't achieved anything that week. It's fucked me in my head. It's just been all over the place. And it's not, I've worked, I'd say pretty hard on actually, is that when I've been ill, is to try and realize that I feel like that because I'm ill. Like it is either, okay, normally it's because I'm run down or lack of sleep. This was just poor food choices. So it's a little bit easier to sort of work with. But yeah, that for me was the big thing. I've struggled in the past when I've been ill with my mental health. So to not have that was not to have a massive spaz attack for me was pretty good.
No, good. And I think that you mentioned a couple of things in your update about actually, do you know what? I just still try to focus on my steps, and a bit like Fiona said, actually sometimes just going back to those basic things.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can sometimes overcomplicate as well. And I think from like what Lauren said, with when it's something that's out of your control, I used to be terrible for then sort of, I could never ever focus. It was always stuff that I always set goals that just couldn't manage them. Or at least now I made sure that I knew gyms were going to probably be opening, but my goal I set, I don't need to have the gym. So I thought, well, if it does open, then it's a bonus. I can't wait to go back, but that's just my personal feeling. I know some people have got, how they feel about it, but for me, I'm quite look forward to it. But at the same time, I've quite enjoyed other stuff I've been doing as well. So I think it's always a good one to keep that mindset.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then, so is anybody else, that feeling unwell, is that kind of ever got in the way, or is there any kind of hints and tips? Because I'm sure there's people that are listening that have maybe not felt too great.
Well, I think it's hard. I was just gonna say, so my profession is I'm a rehab therapist. It's what I do. So like I'll have people who, I think what it is just to take it in isolation too. So if it's something minor, like food poisoning, you know that's going to go in a couple of days. If it's the flu, you're going to have it for a week. If you have a throat infection, like there's kind of a finite thing to that. And it's taking your time, doing the minimum, taking care of your body, and you'll bounce back quick. I think it's harder when it's something like a big injury, like you hurt your back or you break a bone or something like that. And then it's like, oh crap, like this is something that's going to be for months of recovery. I think it's just getting into the mindset that just because this one thing happened, you don't throw everything out. Like, oh, I broke my ankle, so that means that's it. I'm not training. I'm going to just put a pin in this. Maybe I'll do a challenge next year. And just kind of shifting gears and getting, you know, we talk about this with mental health, getting the right people on board to help you and talking to professionals. It's the same thing with a physical injury. Talk to these professionals. You know, it could be acupuncture. It could be a physical therapist. I think you guys call them physio over there. Whatever it happens to be, get those professionals on board. Don't deal with it yourself. See what you can do. See what can be modified, because everything can be I know as a therapist, I can modify pretty much anything for any injury, and not letting it be a setback. It's just a different, it's still the journey. It's just a different maybe direction or a different route to get there. You just kind of, you know, have to be flexible, I guess.
And when you were just talking there, I was thinking, oh yeah, my injury from my running, and then I realized that I hadn't given my update. So we can have which I keep forgetting that sometimes I'm not just the host, I'm actually part of the podcast as well. But yeah, I think you're right with I've got a niggle from my running, where I can't remember which part of the hamstring it is, but it's the bit that affects the rotation and the bending. And throughout this week it's been niggling, and I got to Saturday, so I did my running the previous week. Sunday I went for a swim. The Monday I worked labouring. The Tuesday I went to box fit. Wednesday I laboured. Thursday I went to boxing. Yeah, and it's felt okay once I'm moving, but it stiffens up quite quickly. Friday I went for a swim, and it just hasn't eased. And I got to Saturday, and I thought, I wonder why it's not eased. And I was like, oh yeah, because you've not rested it. Because you run 100 kilometers, and then you've done something every day since. And maybe you should. I took on the keep moving it maybe too literally, and I hadn't actually spent any time resting. So
you feel there's a bit of a danger in that, Alistair, where you're scared to take time off in case you don't go back to it.
Yeah, definitely. And
sometimes that can be the case. You think, oh, I need to keep doing something, otherwise what if I go into a rut and I can't be bothered going back to doing what I was doing before.
That was like me, even with getting back into CrossFit. I was like, I need to go straight away into the first class, otherwise I'll just put it off.
Yeah, it's easy to do, and I think that sometimes it's trying to realise when the time is to rest up and just not do anything. I think with all these steps, I've managed to hurt my heel. Walking, I've hurt my heel. And for the first 5-10 minutes, getting up to go and make a cup of tea first thing in the morning, my heel's quite sore. But then once I'm moving, I'm fine. But then I'm thinking to myself, when do I stop and just let it heal before I, no pun intended, before I hurt even more, do you know what I mean? It's trying to find that right balance before you do yourself any long-term damage.
I think it was, I hadn't even really thought that it stopped. I was just doing what I would normally do. And it was like, no, actually, you need a week off. And in terms of like any kind of muscle injuries or whatever, it was realizing actually this is not just aches and pains from the running, because the rest of my body feels okay. It's this one that's actually, and it's because the first couple of days I thought, oh, it's just a pain, and then the rest of my legs were still sore or whatever, and then they all eased, and I've still got this thing that, it's easing day by day, but that's showing it's healing. There's no major injury, I don't think, because it is starting to heal, but it's about taking that rest time and maybe and actually doing the right things, like Lauren said about maybe I should go and see a physio, or I knew what I needed to do because I've seen a physio up until lockdown every week because my mobility is terrible, and I saw a physio to actually stretch me because lifting my leg sometimes 4 or 5 degrees has been difficult because when I grew, my muscles didn't grow at the same pace. So I've had tight hamstrings since I was like 14 years old. So I knew what I needed to do. So I did put those things in place. As I foam rolled, I stretched, and I've been doing that every day, which is maybe why the injury is not as bad as it was. But I had to learn to actually get to Saturday and just stop and actually let the legs rest. But I've got a bit of a tip, and I've put it out on Instagram or whatever, but I will always shout out, if you've got aches and pains or DOMs, invest in a £15 bottle of what's called woodlock oil. So Paul's brought the party again. But woodlock oil is, if you Google it and buy it from Amazon, it's always available on Prime. It's a massage oil, and think of like deep heat, but 10 times stronger, and it really gets right into the muscles. And my dad used it for arthritis, and he uses it all the time for his arthritis. He broke his upper arm playing curling, of all things. But that's always helped with nerve damage for that. And my only advice is, when you put it on, you only need the smallest amount. It's an oil. The bottle lasts for like 2 or 3 months. It stinks. You're probably going to piss everybody off in the household, but DOMs go like a click of a finger. It helps any kind of muscles. It's a massage oil, effectively, an ancient Chinese massage oil. And when you put it on Amazon, it's sometimes labeled as ease oil. But my only advice is, don't touch any genital
delicate part.
Yeah, don't touch your private parts until you've really thoroughly washed your hands.
Unless you're into that kind of thing, of course.
Because even thinking about, okay, I'm going to put this on, do I need to go to the toilet as a man is a dangerous thing. So, but you feel a massive warmth throughout your whole body, and it's amazing stuff. So if I'm not commissioned by them at some point, and but I definitely recommend it as a DOMS. And when Shannon was talking about DOMs, it just reminded me that that's one thing. But other than that, my week was good for CFD. I tracked everything, and my alcohol intake was good. I only had a couple of pints on Saturday night. So I was pleased about that. My scales have gone up this morning by 1.5 kilograms, which I was like, I've had a good week. There's no reason for this, but I think there's also, I lost so much water the previous week that I knew it was probably, I was hoping to just maybe come out about the same, but I definitely replenished probably the glycogen stores and things. So I read something last week about glycogen. For every gram of glycogen you replace 3 grams of water. So it's and I can't say that's gospel, but it helped me go, okay, do you know what, whatever, 1.5 kilograms, that'll come back off.
It's quite strange how we've all got a very similar story in that, where we've either stayed the same or put something on even though we think we're staying in deficit. Because I've stayed at 200, I was at 224 pounds, 222 pounds before this started, and I'm down to 217, and I've stayed at 217 for the last 3 weeks. But it dropped that quick, and then it just stopped. I think I'll just keep doing it in the hope that it just eventually picks back up again. I don't know. Because my activity levels are there. I'm still in a deficit. It seems strange. But I think you just have to keep on going sometimes and hope that it catches up again.
But if you're doing 4 workouts a week, you're definitely going to be gaining strength.
Yeah. So I'm trying not to pay too much attention on it, because my main goal is just my steps. And I don't know, it's one of those strange ones that we all seem to have a very similar thing with that it's stayed roughly the same.
Yeah, I also think that when, against my thing, so one of the Paul challenges for last week was to focus on your hydration, and I increased my water intake. So I think I must have stored some of that water. And as Nikki takes a massive swig of her water,
Thank you.
that prompts you. I think coming out of last week for me was just about, okay, we got back to managing an injury, manage my CFD. We regroup and we go again. And I did my progress photos, and I hadn't put them on Instagram or anything for a while. So I thought, I don't know why I'd taken them and put them on the app, and normally I would put them on, but I hadn't put them on there, and I was like, you just need to put them back on there. And I don't think I look any different. I thought I looked like I'd had to put on weight, but then everybody was saying that I hadn't, so that was like, okay, good. There's definitely some changes going on, and I have lost centimeters. So as we've all said, the scale doesn't always matter. So we'll see where we go for.
That's part of the problem I've been having. I've been too consistent posting my photographs on social media. I keep forgetting to put them in the app. I did it today. I put the photographs on Insta, and then I was out walking, and I thought, oh shit, I didn't even put it on the js&a app. I better upload them. I just forgot. I was that too busy concentrating on being accountable online rather than being accountable on the thing that actually matters the most.
I got a strange comment on Facebook because I keep forgetting to turn off the post to Facebook as well. So all my other my normal friends, I've also seen that, and then somebody I know, we've all got Facebook friends and that we maybe haven't seen for years, or whatever. And there's one girl said, "I need to buy you some new pants." And I was like, no, they're my js&a budgie for my photograph. I do change my underwear.
That's brilliant.
Think it all lightheartedly.
You just said I bought 14 pairs of the same pants.
I do have a washing machine. I do wash them. But my budgies only go on for 10 minutes and then straight back off again. And they only go on straight after they've been in the shower. So this.
Brilliant. Oh, no.
Was there anything that anybody had to add about managing through when we're not feeling so great or mental health?
I've got one, and it kind of follows on from what Paul was saying, a bit from what Lauren was saying, about when out of control. I'm a massive control freak when illness strikes, and I can't do anything about it except wait out, like flu, like anything. I can't stand it. I go into self-sabotage where I don't know, eat everything inside to feel sorry for myself. And that's a tricky one. And then just thinking from that, I thought 2 times that always happens. Hangovers. How the hell do we all cope with hangovers? And then it's always time of the month as well for us women. That is also eat everything in fucking sight. It's completely out of your control. And it's miserable. You want to eat everything because hormones and everything. But yeah, they're always funny times. I think the only way, hangovers are always different, and it depends on the alcohol. Wineovers or something completely different. But yeah, it's drinking water, and it's just keeping drinking water to the point that I'm drinking so much that I'm not eating all the crap, because I feel I'm actually thirsty rather than hungry more often with those kind of times.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's the out of control I can't stand at all. But yeah, I didn't really have an answer. It was just thoughts. Carrying on.
No, I think I hadn't even actually hangover, feeling unwell is similar, and you're seeking fluids, you're seeking salt, because you're dehydrated, and you're seeking energy because you've not had a great amount of sleep.
Lucozade sports are the way forward for them.
Yes, and a packet of salt and vinegar crisps.
Yeah, and you don't get them over. You don't get them over in England or that, but BPM they do it here, and it's just sugar heaven. But it's amazing for hangover.
Amazing.
Mine's is a Barocca and an Alka-Seltzer before I go to my bed.
Oh.
So one Alka-Seltzer and one Barocca. Put it in one glass, give it a stir. Have a swig.
And from the last couple of weeks, we all know how much Chris drinks, so it's, it must be good advice.
If you look at my fitness pal, it's all there. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. No,
try that.
I'm not saying it's bad advice.
It's just all about managing it.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, the hangover one, Nicky, yeah, that's tough. I felt like shit yesterday, and I think I had about 5 hours sleep.
Yeah.
The time we went to bed, it was daylight. I hadn't seen my sister for, I don't know, about 3-4 months roughly, and we just ended up sitting up having a drink, and everyone else had gone to sleep, and we just sat up and just kind of chatted shit till about 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
And before I knew it was 10 o'clock in the morning, I'd woke up and I'm thinking, right, I can't move. And I think I had about 3 naps throughout the day just watching TV. And then we drove home about 7 o'clock last night. And I thought, right, oh no, I've only done 6,000 steps. I can't. Because that's been 70 days since we started the June Step Up Challenge. I've done consistently 15k or more every day. And I thought, right, I can't just have one day where it drops. I just need to get up and walk. I just had to get up and walk.
You're lucky. Normally, whenever I have a hangover, I'm sending Nikki a picture, and I'm like, I can't move.
Brilliant, though.
And it's the makeup still half on me, and then I have the fear of like looking at what videos I've sent her as well.
But the smugness I get from knowing I'm not hungover. I mean, I hate her a little bit because I'm usually in the office, sat miserable at work, and she's going, I'm still in bed. And go, no, I'm smug as fuck because I'm not hungover. On a cool night. Oh yeah, hangover's a tough one. Yeah, my trick through uni, because when we used to drink wine quite a bit, used to be to fill up the bottles that you drank with water. Obviously, rinse them out first and consume the same amount of water that you drank of alcohol, and that
That's
used
a
to
good
work.
idea.
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore.
Like, would it not like have a leftover wine tint to it?
Well,
Like,
it was while you were still pissed. It was before you went to bed, so you were still twatted and you didn't really care what it tastes like, but it was just trying to get water in you.
I just eat everything inside. Chicken selects from Mackey's are my go-to, and about 100 Kinder Buenos. I mean, it doesn't cure anything, but I'll eat it.
I was in the pub a few weeks ago, and while we were in the pub, we were just sitting eating a Chinese.
Like you're doing now.
Yeah, sitting to the right hand side of me.
Hashtag fitness.
What was that?
Hashtag fitness.
I'll show it to you.
You've just shown it to the world. Don't worry.
Oh my god, that looks amazing.
It fits in my calories. It's okay.
Sorry for dubbing you in.
In which case, it doesn't matter, does it? I think it's the hangover thing. You've got to plan in your calories, not just for the alcohol, for the day afterwards, because you know it's going to be just as bad, and try and take some of those calories off from the other days. I used to be terrible for not only I'm having a drink tonight, so I'd start the day with probably a breakfast, and then I'm thinking, oh fuck it, I'm having a burger because I'm having a drink tonight, and then I have a drink, and then the next morning I'd have to have a full breakfast to get over it, and then I'd get Chinese or something at night, and all of a sudden you'd look at a weekend and go, oh fuck. It's okay, having a drink tonight means that you can be fairly good today, and if it means you're going to be bad tomorrow, track that in as well. But
sometimes my hangovers are very nice to me and don't let me eat at all the next day.
Yeah.
So then it's just a winner with calories.
I was gonna say my end up being a wash. My hangovers, I'm always a wash. I can't eat the next day, so then I'm just drinking water, and it ends up being a wash.
Jammy gits. Jammy gits.
I just want to eat everything, right?
Yeah.
So I was driving home last night. My son's sitting in the back of the car going, how much do you want a Big Mac right now? How much do you want a Big Mac? I'm like, really badly, but I'm not getting one. He's like, how big do you think the queue will be in McDonald's? I'm like, not very big because we'll never see it. We're not going. I said to keep on driving, but I was so tempted just to swerve off the motorway and just go.
That is cruel. Which actually leads quite nice into the next topic. Sabotaging.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my sabotager. Pizza? We have a pizza? Domino's? No.
The problem is like once you get it into your head, I really struggle to get it out again. I'm like McDonald's. Like even now, I'm like, I've had my tea, but a Big Mac does sound good, and I'm like, is Mackie open 24 hours yet? Like, can I go after this, or shall I have one?
Some of them are.
Yeah, I have to really rein it in. But once you have it in your head, that's it. Like, I'm like a woman possessed.
Suddenly,
That's why McDonald's.
All the cameras go off and everybody just.
Yeah. Thank you. See you next week. Goodbye.
We've done it a couple of times where we've had a relatively healthy, a really good tea, but it's been quite small, and we still had like 500 odd calories left for the day. We're going, oh, fuck, this is great. Got into bed about 10, half 10, and gone, fuck, I'm still hungry. McDonald's, great. McDonald's, and you have a Happy Meal, and it's still in your calories, and it's brilliant. You can love it.
Talking about family sabotage, that's a great example, Chris.
Yep.
What made me think of was like the advertising sabotage as well. You just sat there quite happy, and then ba 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 ba.
They always advertise late at night as well.
Oh, Facebook's a bitch for it. It's just because they listen to you and it watches you, and then it's just there. You're scrolling and McDonald's, and there we go again. Or Domino's texting you.
Sometimes I try to think of, was it James Smith's, one of his podcasts with Jordan Syatt, where he ate a Big Mac every day for a month. And
oh God, yes, I saw that.
So I just sometimes think of that and think, do you know what? It's all right if I have one. Because he managed to take the deficit
If
for the
it fits
whole
in
of a
your
month.
calories, it's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And he's tiny. I'm 6'4". He's tiny, so it'll be fine.
Just stay away from the fries and McDonald's and you're grand.
No, the fries are the best bit.
Fries are as many calories as a burger.
It's very funny how we're supposed to be talking about family sabotage and we're actually doing each other right now.
Who has the strongest willpower?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And how was week 4, everybody? Fuck you.
Next week, it's like, so what did you order from Mackie's?
With some family sabotage has turned into podcast sabotage, advertising sabotage. Like, how are we all going to handle this moment? Make sure that we stay, because there's an example of it. We could all disappear now and go and order something we shouldn't have. It's about how do you handle that? How do you cope with your boy saying to you, and that sounds like serious attempt to get you to fuck up.
Oh, massively. Every single Thursday, we used to have a Subway Thursday every Thursday.
Aye.
And now I do it once a month as a treat. But he'll always say, "Oh, remember how often we used to have a Subway? How good was that?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I was also 3 stone heavier, so no, we're not doing it anymore." It's like,
I think Subways are overrated. I'm not a fan of Subway. It's just
Subway.
I love Subway. I could eat them every day.
The hash browns. Oh,
but they're not as good as McDonald's hash browns.
Not as good
Just
as
throwing
McDonald's
that out
hash
there.
browns. No.
Hash browns? What are you talking about?
It's like deep fried potatoes, like sliced potatoes.
I know what a hash brown is. I know what a hash brown is, but Subway does not have those here. I feel like I'm gypped.
Oh, they do.
No.
They're almost tater tots.
They're like chicken nuggets.
Yeah, they're like tater tot size, so they're tiny.
But they do. You guys are killing to New York and see it for yourself. She lives there and she's going, no, they don't do hash brown. Sounds like, oh, they do. They do. I've been there and I ordered a Subway myself. Like, they absolutely do. So,
but they let you put the hash browns in your sub now as well. You can super it up. Yeah.
Stop! Don't tell me that. Don't.
Hang on. No, they let you do it. What, like before, you couldn't buy them on one side, and it's like, oh shit, I can't put them in there. I'm not allowed.
That's my favorite sandwich from
the
Dunkin'
Subway police will come for me if I open up my baguette and put my hash browns in it.
I don't think we get them either. I don't think they do the hash browns up here, which I'm surprised about. Not unless we just deep fry them. I don't know. But
Couldn't tell you.
You answer that and let him know if they do. Will you just check for it?
That's it. Chris is now like, remember Subway Thursday? It's Subway fucking Monday now. Off we go.
Monday motivation Subways.
Oh, good God.
So-
What are you doing about sabotage, sorry?
I think that literally all we've done is talk about, like, we are literally sabotaging ourselves here. Like, it's really bad. But anyway, in answer to your question, how do you manage it? I get some of you know, the Bird's Eye, like, southern fried chicken fillet.
Yeah.
Whenever, if I fancy KFC or something, or a Mackey's, I usually get one of them. So I think they're like 280 calories a fillet. Stick it in a wrap, and it usually solves the craving for me a little bit, basically. So
That's a good tip. Actually, just manufacture something yourself or allow it. I quite like, Chris, you probably had a bit of a tip in there that maybe didn't pick up on about. Actually, no, we just have it once a month. So you're still allowing it in. It's just restricted when you let it in.
Yeah. And it's always the same one I get, because I know it fits within the protein goal that I'm trying to get, or the calorie goal. And a steak and cheese on wheat Subway is about 800 calories roughly, give or take, for a foot long. So I just manage that into my week, and I think it's not that much. That's, for me, being the size I am, that's a normal dinner for me to eat between 600 and 800 calories. So, but I think, Nikki, did you get the muscle food order? Did you eventually do it?
Yes, I did. I've ordered it.
Yeah.
They arrived. Yeah,
Good,
they arrived. They arrived yesterday morning when we were still up in Cheshire. So they were a little bit warm by the time we got down here. But yeah, we've frozen them, so I'm giving them a day just to keep cool. But tomorrow night, I will let you know.
Chicken, I think Stuart a couple of weeks ago gave a good tip, and I'd never tried it. The chicken fajita one. You can put it on a couple of wraps, then you've got chicken fajita wrap.
Yeah.
Things like that are good to, like what Fiona was saying, is trying to think of something else to have that kind of curbs the want to get a takeaway. Just even putting one of them in the microwave and put it on a wrap.
Yeah. I'll admit it now, I'm one of those god awful vegans. So I got all the vegan shit. But yeah, there's vegan breakfasty stuff that I was going to stick in wraps as well, because they're only like 200, the vegan ones.
Yeah, they're good.
Calories or something. So yeah, so stick it in a wrap, or like a couple of mini wraps. That's my tip. Mini wraps rather than one big wrap, because it feels like you're still getting the wrap bit that you want, and it's less than, yeah. That's what I love.
The chicken, is it the jeera? Chicken jeera, it's called, or something?
Yeah, I think my partner got that one. Yeah.
And I've got the breakfast one as well. But some of the vegetarian ones, they're lovely.
Yeah, I hope so. I'll let you know.
They're good.
I'm excited.
I think in terms of support, then I just it depends on who's around you. But if you are quite open about what you're doing and why you're trying to achieve it, and actually if the people around you fully understand that that's something you need to be doing, and you are full on, you're bought into it. I had a dinner with a friend of mine, and she said, "Do you need to track these calories?" before she was cooking, and I was like, "Oh yeah," it reminded me, "Yeah, I do." And she was like, "Okay, I've got 30 grams of this," blah blah. It's,
That's really sweet. That's really lovely.
It was like, actually, and it was a vegan meal, Nikki. All right, so yeah.
I'm not one of those awful judgy ones. I don't mention it often because everyone goes, "Ah, vegan."
No, and neither she, but it's but that support was there with somebody knowing what I'm doing, and it was, and she's been doing it, but she wasn't doing it that day. It was Sunday. That was a day off of tracking or whatever. So it was like, that was a really nice gesture, and it didn't take her too long to go, "Yeah, well, all right, we'll weigh it and we'll put it in," and so yeah.
That's really sweet.
And she was like, "What, there's just your peppers. Do you need?" I was like, "I'm putting everything in." She was like, "That's 8 calories. That's because actually veg is so low in calories that I guess, and that if you're, and when I'm unwell, going back to that, I actually crave all the healthy foods. Not when I'm hungover,
Yeah.
but if I'm unwell, I'm the guy that walks out Tesco with all the fruit and like I'm gonna beat this because I'm gonna get all my vitamins in. And yeah, veg is a great way of bulking out the meals. But that level of support, and I don't really have the sabotage thing other than come to a pint. Like, if I go out and I'm saying, no, I'm not having a beer, and it's like, go on, have one. Just have one beer.
I don't tend to have that. I think I tend to have more.
No, Chris, because you always have the beer.
No, not exactly. So I'm just gonna think if I want a beer, I'm going to have a beer. I'm just gonna
I'm the
know what,
same.
I'll have it. But I've more got people that show a massive interest in what I'm doing, because I'm lucky enough that my wife does it as well. So she's joined JS&a for the previous challenge, but she's got the standard membership now. So the two of us have been working through it together. I started it in 2018, and Debbie joined right at the start of the year. And unfortunately, the two of us track our calories as well, anyway, and our activity levels. But I tend to find it's the people from the outside that come in and say, what is it you're doing? Because it's really working. And I take the time to explain it, take the time to let them know what I'm doing, I show them how to do it. And then they come back 6 months later and say, oh, I've signed up to some shit fucking Weight Watchers thing, or Slimming World, whatever. And I think, well, what was the point of me taking the time and the effort to explain it all to you to then go do something completely different? It's a 180 on what I've just explained to you. I find that bit a little bit strange. And it's not so much a sabotage, it's more, oh, you can't have that, you're not allowed that. Why not? Just because you're doing a point system thing rather than me doing what I'm doing. So you just stick to what you do and I'll do what I do. You do you and I'll do me. That kind of thing. And it's just one of those things I try to stick to now. And it's not that I'm just being, oh, fuck off, I'm not going to tell you again. It's more that I've taken the time to tell you. You're either going to take it on board or you'll do your own thing. And I just find about half the people just tend to do their own thing. And then they come back and ask the same question a year later. And I think, I've already told you, so I'm not going to waste my time again. I've done my bit.
Yeah, whenever I first started, like,
I think for some people, I think the thought of counting calories. Sorry, I think my screen froze, and then I think I started talking at the same time as Shannon.
Go on ahead, Fiona.
Sorry. I think for some people, I think the thought of counting calories seems a bit overwhelming to them because they have to count everything. They have to be checking everything and looking at everything. And I think when someone approaches you and says, "What did you do?" and it's like, "Oh, calorie deficit," I think that the first thing they think of is, "Oh my God, so I have to literally log every single thing." Where I think if they go for Weight Watchers or Slimming World, it is the same concept, even though they don't tell you that that's the same concept. But it's the sort of, I think, in a sense, probably easier for them to, if they've never done weight loss or anything like that before, it's probably easier concept to sort of ease themselves into, because you think about how many people have come from Weight Watchers and Slimming World and come to here. They might have struggled with the thought of doing calorie counting at first, I think. So I wonder if it's not taking it on board, it's just that they might find it overwhelming.
Yeah, sometimes it's that, and sometimes it's, I've had a good friend of mine came to me about 18 months ago and asked what I was doing. I explained to him what I was doing, took the time to explain it, and then 6 months later he asked me the same question. I thought, well, I've already been through it with you. If you don't want to do it, don't do it, that's fine. But don't ask me to waste my time telling you about it for you then not to do anything about it at all. And he moans about the fact they can't lose weight, and you're thinking, you're moaning that you can't lose weight, you're asking me what I'm doing, I've explained what I'm doing, and you're just not doing anything rather than something else.
Yeah.
That's rather than the sabotage, I find I get a lot more of that instead.
I've had those conversations with people as well about, and you try to educate, and they're like, oh no, but there's loads of other ways of doing it, and I'm like, no, this is science. This is the scientific way, and it's a way that works for me. If you want to do it or not, but then I think when they don't understand it, even by not understanding it, there's a sabotage in that as well, without them even realizing it. Sometimes it's the unconscious sabotage. And I'm glad that Nikki's come back on because I thought we'd lost her. But
You were settling that up.
She texted me to say out she's coming back.
She's been pushing for a good quality photograph, and I did capture her frozen screen.
For fuck's sake.
It's a hell of a... it definitely, as Chris said, it was like this. It was...
Settling up.
Oh, fucking hell. Fucking hell. Thanks, guys.
Despite the whole weigh-in things and all, whenever I first started, like my family and all thought I was crazy. Like I weighed everything down to the last gram and then entered it all in, and they were like, "You're mad." And like on a Sunday, Mummy would always plate up all our dinners for us, and I was like, "You need to weigh that," or if she had already it plated, I was coming down the stairs and I was taking it all off and weighing it separately, and she was going mental because I was doing this. And then it wasn't until they seen my end transformation of the last challenge to when I started in January, that they were like, "My God, this is working," because she would have, like, I'd have been taking about 200 grams of sweet potato, a salmon, and about 250, maybe 300 grams of broccoli. And she's like, "Sure, there's not that many calories in broccoli, but whenever you're taking them a few times a day, they're all going to add up." So that's why it's important to count them as well, I think. But they have now started tracking themselves and they've been losing weight. Like if you've seen my daddy, whenever I was going to Australia last year, and like 4 months later, whenever I come home, there was a massive difference then. But even now he's went from, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying, but he's went from like an XXL and he's down now to like a medium in clothing.
Wow.
And that's after surgery for cancer at the start of the year. And he has another operation now in a few weeks' time, so he's absolutely flying, and he's down to his lowest weight in about 15 years.
Amazing.
That's really good. That's really good. I can relate to some of what you're saying, Shannon, in terms of with your mum cooking and things like that, because I'm at home at the moment, and one of the biggest challenges is that they're on board with it, but because we're all working from home and we're all in the same house, no one really wants heated up microwave prep meals. So it's literally, it's home cooked every single evening that we're having, which is difficult for me to manage because my mum she likes to do the cooking, and she really like anyone else in the kitchen because people make a mess and it just messes with the cleanliness and stuff. So basically it is a case of it's up to her what we have for tea every night. And obviously, like, we contribute in different ways, but that's sort of like her thing, whereas like taking the dog out is my thing, and etc. So that's really hard. And then on top of that, they are supportive, but I've got quite a sweet tooth, so I have like the the Fiber 90 bars and the Squares bars and stuff. They will be gone in a day. I won't have touched them. Like whole pack will be gone. So it's not necessarily someone sitting there saying, "Why are you?" And if
you have the birthday cake ones, then it's just game over. They're gone in 10 minutes.
Yeah, they went in a day. And I was just like, okay, this isn't sabotage as in like, why are you eating that? It's
what they buy into the house.
Like, oh, that looks good. And everything, and you can tell when someone's done it because then they replace it with other things. Like, so we've got some, I got some, I think they were like Sky or something like that. They were like 68 calories, or a Muller type thing where it was like a chocolate and caramel mousse. I've not touched them. But I've gone downstairs before and it's been replaced with Aero mousses. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is what I bought last week. So that's one thing, is that my little under 100 calorie things go missing, and it's hard to manage the meals in the evening for me.
What I find, if like my parents are cooking food or whatever, or my brothers, is if I know that there's going to be like potatoes or rice, like cut down on my carbs, because then I can allow more for the like meat of the meal and like the sauce or whatever.
Yeah.
Taking maybe, instead of like 150 grams of rice, I'm only maybe taking like 90 or 100. And then I know that's calories counted back there to allow for the extra and the rest of the food.
Yeah, we actually spoke about that earlier on, because I just mentioned it to my mum and I was just like, it's too much rice, way too much rice. But I think they are mostly quite supportive. It's just trying to sort of manage the rest of it. But yeah, the rice can eat, because I'm not even really that bit much of a big fan of rice and pasta and stuff. I could take it or leave it. But yeah,
Pasta.
down on that.
So I just sorry, I've been in and out because I'm at the whim of a very small dictator over here. So he's awake, but he has his favorite movie on, so now he's fine. For me, it wasn't so much the food, because I do all the cooking in my household, so it wasn't going to be like food being sabotaged, because I do the grocery shopping, I do the cooking, whatever. It was more this subtle kind of emotional sabotage, and what I mean by that is, I've lost a large amount of weight, and he's now my ex. We broke up in January, and one of the things that I had brought up to him was the fact that over 2 years I lost in total. I mean, I've backslid quite a bit, but I've lost about 115 pounds, and he didn't have anything to say about it. Not positive, not negative, neither. If I had stayed, creeping up to 300 pounds and unhealthy and sick, he didn't say a word. He was never like, hey, you're really not feeling well. He never encouraged it. If I wanted to skip the gym, he'd be like, great, sounds great. Like he had no positive or negative. And to be fair, like not negative either. He was never like, don't go to the gym. He didn't have a negative thing, but I didn't have anybody at my household who understood what I was doing. It was like, oh, whatever. And that was hard. And it was hard not having anybody at my household care, like that I looked completely different or that I was busting my ass or whatever it happened to be. So, that's really hard when you have to be your only reinforcer, like by yourself. It got a lot better when I joined CrossFit. I lost a chunk of weight by myself, and then I joined CrossFit, and having that community, having friends who got it, like changing some of my inner circle helped out a lot, but having literally zero at home. And the flip side of that also was with family. They had seen me yo-yo diet for years. I'd lose a little, I'd be gung-ho in something, and then I'd lose a little, go back, lose a little, go back. So they were like, yeah. When I was like, oh no, I'm doing it this time, they're like, yeah, okay. And it wasn't until I took off like a good chunk that they were like, oh shit, she's really doing it this time. And then, so they're all very supportive now, but it's not easy. It's not easy when you don't have, family's probably the most important opinion I have in my life. My family's very close, and to do it completely on your own in the beginning is really tough.
I definitely get that. Like if you had asked me like Christmas time, I had a completely different mindset, and then I was just like, I don't want these negative Nancy's in my life anymore, sort of thing, because they weren't making me be the person that I can be. And then it was like maybe March time, so I was about 2-3 months into like my fitness journey, and they were like, what's changed? And it was just like, I've cut these people out of my life and surrounded myself by people that have the same sort of goals and mindset, and that's where it's helped me.
I've got quite a bit to add on to multiple people. So me and my partner, I coerced him into doing bintangs at the same time, and I've been part of js&a and doing bits. I've always been active but not perfect tracking in calories. So I like working, I like being active, but never nailed it until bintangs challenge. I coerced him into doing it at the same time because we both are lazy and we both have a sweet tooth and we both like pudding a lot. So if he's having pudding and I'm not, I am very jealous, or I'm crawling at his to try and get some as well. So we very unconsciously will sabotage each other accidentally, because I'll go, well, I've got calories for this, I'm having it, and he'll go, oh, I'm hungry, I'll go over mine today, and we'll have something. Or I'll get really jealous because he's got higher calories because he's a man and he's slightly larger, and I go, oh, you fucker, you've got 700 left at the end of the day, I've got 200, you can have a whole fucking share bag of Rebels and I could have 3. I hate you. It's good doing it together because we're both actively trying, but I completely get about the support circle. Like Shannon said, and you, Lauren, it's this js&a, and that's kind of what I needed, that group of cheerleaders that you can talk about it, and you can have the people that go, everyone's doing this, okay, I can talk about this now and I can share it. And I think one thing I wanted to say about the sabotages, well, I haven't really got sabotages, but it's my friends out of js&a. I don't know how, it's almost some of them, I don't know how to start and talk about this, because I started bintangs and it was the start of luck, and lots of people were sort of jokingly, partially, but going, oh, I'm putting on so much weight and doing this, and secretly I'm inside going, well, I'm not, I'm losing it, I'm really actively trying. And it's almost, you don't want to trigger people and make people feel bad, that they're not, you can gently talk to people and say, oh, well, do you want to come for a walk with me? Do you want to do this? But there's there's only so much, and it's funny. Now I've got friends. They're outside JSA listening to this now, which is terrifying. But it's good because it's now I can share it with them because I feel like I can talk to them, and I've had those little wins. It's like not wanting to share the wins every week, and oh, I've lost this, when they're actually saying, oh, I haven't moved this week, oh, I haven't done a lot today, oh, I feel awful, I've been this. And it's a balance. That's the community is so great because you have got this group of people that you can go, I've celebrated, I've lost a centimeter, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
I think some of it also goes back to who was saying before, I think it was Fiona talking about like the gym opening and stuff. I was always making these like fictitious milestones of when I'm going to start doing something or when I'm going to like whatever. And like that was a self-sabotage, and that the family all played into. So like I got really serious a couple of years ago, and my son was diagnosed with autism, and I used that as a massive, don't get me wrong, he really needed me at that point in time, but I used it as a massive excuse to be like, oh, I can't do anything for myself right now, he needs 110% of my attention, you know. And yeah, I can eat junk food every night and dessert because that's going to be my comfort through this and stuff like that. And then I had my husband at the time being like, yeah, absolutely, and buying all those things and putting it in the house, and nobody stopping me, instead of anybody in my life being like, hey, you have a lot on your plate right now, maybe you don't want to add your own health to that. And really nobody holding me accountable. So, you know, eventually I held myself accountable, but it's really important to get those people who are going to help you not fall off the wagon, not backslide, not do those kinds of things.
Absolutely. And that's like Shannon is one of the first people I found, and now we're quite good friends, I'd like to say. But it's finding those groups of people that you can kind of talk about it very openly with, which is quite refreshing. I've got friends.
I was just thinking there from you in the first challenge, Nikki, whenever you didn't want to show anybody your photos and you're like, I'm just going to show you. And I was like, post them.
This is it. Like with friends outside, some of them are actors, some of them are rowers, and they're brilliant. But then I always don't, I'm hating this now, realizing they're going to listen to this lovingly. You don't want to share too much and put people down by constantly talking about your own wins and saying, oh, I've lost this week, oh, I've lost this week. And I can do it to an extent, but not to the same extent. I can talk to Shannon and go, oh, I've done this, oh, I've hit my calories again today, oh, I've hit my steps again today, and you know. And it's not always positive, but it's always about, it's a group of friends that are surrounded around fitness, so you can talk about this constantly and everything else, as I'm sure we're going to find out soon.
That'll be in my podcast.
That's a plug. But it's this community is brilliant, and yes, doing it with John Lavana is great because, you know, we're both actively trying to not buy in crap, to buy like the muscle food, and, you know, to try and step away from takeaways a little bit. Having family that support you is brilliant. This weekend at home, my dad's a massive carnivore, so he was cooking loads of big joints of meat, and luckily they bought a load of vegan stuff in it, and a lot of it was sort of part packaged, just loads of veg, but then there'd be like some of it that was part risotto or something, so it was easy because like, I'll scan that, and then I can guesstimate the amount of veg and do this and this, so it wasn't too bad. But they never really sabotage, but I've not got the sabotage, it's almost being careful. Is it boundaries? Maybe that's the right word with friends. I don't know. I'm babbling now. Someone else talk, please.
At the moment,
Another thing I noticed I would do, and I really had to check myself, is somebody in the group would post like their progress pictures, and it would be like massive. They look amazing. And I would find myself getting like tight, like, oh, my progress doesn't look like that. And I know I worked hard, and like, it was a mindset. And I was like, ew, what is wrong with me that I can't just be excited for this person while they look great and just like take that? That's their journey. That's their picture. That's their progress. It's not personal. Has nothing to do with me. We have a different lifestyle. Like, I found myself like having to just, you know, like calm down and like that comparison. James talks about that all the time. He talks about it in his book. He talks about it in podcasts. Like, comparison is the thief of joy, and like constantly comparing what other people doing. Like, oh, my meal prep is not as good as so-and-so's. Oh, my workout wasn't as hard as so-and-so's. So what? I meal prepped. I worked out, and like not comparing and just not sabotaging yourself with that comparison game either.
What works for you is different for someone else as well.
Right.
I agree with Nikki as well on the whole community thing as well. Like, whenever I changed gyms like about 2 years ago, And the first gym that I was at, I'd been there for years and I had friends there, and I've never been able to sort of, I'm not one that'll go over and approach people at the gym. Like I just go in and get on with it. So I struggled to meet new people. And then I joined Pure Gym because it was cheaper, and obviously like there's so many people in Pure Gym that you're never really going to get that community. But then it was almost like as soon as I started taking like this this thing seriously. So I think I was like signed up to js&a on the like 10 plan for like a couple of months, and I was just like just pay for premium. It's almost like you sort of get like swept into it all, don't you? Like really quickly, and then you like all of a sudden, I'm 2 months in, and I'm sat on this podcast with people that have been on it for ages, like getting really nice messages of support. Like you messaged me last week, Nikki, and like it's really nice. And I always feel a bit funny about my Instagram because like I don't want to run 2 Instagrams, but I feel like the one that I use wasn't initially set up for js&a, so I always feel like I'm being a bit of a fraud with it because this isn't what I set it up for. But I still love logging onto that other side of it because you have so many people from js&a on there, and it's funny because it's almost like I have my personal one, and it's like it's all right, it's it is what it is, it's pictures of my dog and like stuff. And it's the same with everyone else's, and you scroll through and you go, it's a bit meh. And then you flip over to the other side, because you have like the 2 profiles at the bottom, and it's just full of people like talking on the videos while they're walking and tracking the progress. And then I've got people that are like counselors and therapists on there that are also just really, really, really nice. And you do get a different feel from it just from flipping profiles, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But it's just, I think it really does make a huge difference. Because I was thinking before, like even halfway through this conversation, I feel like I'm getting my motivation back, and I feel like I missed that last week. I was when someone was talking before, I was like, it's gone from going, how late is it to drive out to a Big Mac, to I wonder if I can fit a run in before bed. And I think this is just going to be like a constant battle throughout this whole podcast until I get to the end of it and go, I think I'm going to go to bed.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole of another conversation. Maybe let's hold social media for next week as
yes.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Okay.
And I wrote just a couple of things down as the conversation was going wild, which is brilliant. I love it. I think me and Chris were like, we're stuck in between 4 women.
I saw Chris go to talk a couple of times, and you just didn't get a word in edgeways.
I'm used to it. I've got a family full of females.
I didn't think though I'm actually in control of this. Just mute you all. But I did it.
Sorry.
As a friend once did to me because I'm a talker, but whenever he lived with me, he would just get his pretend remote out, and he would be like, put the volume. But yeah,
guys, I have to take care of my little dictator here. I'm gonna peace out, but I just wanted to say bye. I just disappear.
Bye, Lauren.
Bye.
So I just a couple of bits I wrote down, and it was, I thought back to me on my podcast and on my podcast, they're all my podcasts, but when I told my story and I thought about the sabotage thing, but when I phoned my dad to say, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it, and this is what I need from you, I got the support that I needed. And actually, I think that's maybe one way to deal with the sabotagers, is actually to sit down and say, I'm doing this, this is why I'm doing it, and this is what I need from you. And I think that's a big part, is this is what I need from you. Because then if they choose to sabotage, you can make a decision about where they fit in. But most people want to support you, so when you ask that from them, they're likely to do it. So I wrote that down, and I wrote one of the phrases that keeps coming back to my head at the moment is, and it was chatting to a guy that I've been working with who's been trying to support a guy that lives with him who's put on loads of weight, seems to have an alcohol problem, being quite a dark place. And he said, I feel like I've done everything I can and maybe I need to let him get on with it. And I said to him, well, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And actually, that's, if you think about a sabotager, they're trying to lead you to water, but they can't make you drink. And I just thought about that's flipping it the other way. And they can say, go on, have McDonald's, but they can't make you eat it. And so, sometimes turning it's
what I find too, if your friends or that are going to McDonald's, if you get even say like a drink, so like a Coke Zero or something, you still feel like you're getting your McDonald's.
I used to do this.
Like you're still getting something while they can eat.
When I used to salsa 2 or 3 times a week, we'd always go to McDonald's after that. Would be before I was dancing McDonald's, and you'd eat back the calories you burnt off, essentially, which is why you never lose weight.
Yeah.
But then I started to go into Happy Meals instead, and it reduces the calories, or carrot sticks instead of chips. I know that's really sad, but yeah, it is. It's getting something little to satisfy that little bit of I'm still part of it, so I'm not feeling left out. That's perfect. Yeah.
I feel like sometimes though, when
someone let Chris talk.
Podcast by next week. I'm telling you, we've been giving them so much promotion. Don't go to McDonald's.
Or Subway.
Or Domino's, or any of them, until they start sponsoring us, and then we'll all be fat and have to go and tell our journeys again.
Well, some days I don't feel like I need leading to the water though. I've already gone for a swim. I'll be bathing in it.
Someone let Chris talk, please.
Oh, you're right. Silly.
But I also thought about when you said about being vegan, Nikki, and obviously I know other people who make diet choices, for whether that's because of the religion or whatever. But when your why is bigger than somebody trying to get you to eat meat, you don't do it. You don't eat meat.
Oh yeah.
So when your why is bigger for losing weight than somebody trying to get you to eat something that you don't want to, or is there to eat, then that should outweigh it. And I just thought,
nonsensical.
Your reasons for being vegan are for whatever, for health, for morals, for but that is always going to outweigh you going and choosing the bacon or the pulled pork or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just need to find that bigger why, and then that should overrule the sabotagers, or even your own self-sabotage.
Well, you could just come round and tell them to stop being a dick. I do that sometimes. Stop being a dick, just leave me be.
It works.
I want to eat what I want to do, and I'll do what I do, and you do what you want to do.
I've got it quite a lot over the years with being a diabetic, and it's like, you're not allowed to eat that. Why are you having that? And it's like, I'm allowed it. I can fit it into, it's like not fitting it into your calories, but it's like, I can take the insulin for it. It's okay.
Well, hang on. Yeah. So let's not go down whatever that diet fad was about people taking insulin who didn't need it.
Don't.
Madness.
A lot of bodybuilders actually take it. It's mental. Like, it's so dangerous.
For what purpose?
I don't know what it is. They've read something where it's meant to make them better, make their muscles grow better or something. I don't know.
Madness.
That is a like quite a rabbit hole as well, because already I'm thinking of different topics and stuff that I could talk about and contribute to that. But
let's maybe communicate between ourselves on the new topics.
Okay.
That's a topic for another day, though. Like I want to talk about that.
So what's the topic?
Just basically about like the just the shit that you see online advertising, like weight loss and stuff, and it goes into a whole different realm of like MLMs and stuff. I'm really into my anti-MLM stuff at the minute. I find it really fascinating.
Cool. Let's put that in with social media for a big hour and a half for next week. But I think have we covered self-sabotage, family sabotage, support, because we need to try and get in really quickly. Now we're down to 5 of us. Paul just up and left. So, whatever. And obviously Lauren said her goodbyes. So maybe we could just drop into week 4 goals and what we're going to work on for next week. So Shannon?
I am actually going down home tomorrow, so I'm still living up near Belfast at the minute. So I'll have a bit more structure on what I'm eating, because sabotage at the minute is so easy for me. Like last week I've had to like cook all my own food because we've just been eating takeaways like every day. So getting down home, getting proper food and eating at proper times instead of like randomly throughout the day. Get my 10,000 steps in each day and my thrusters and a few days workouts at CrossFit. And that's me for the week.
Good luck and enjoy your time at home.
Oh, I will.
Chris?
More of the same for me. I just want to keep accountable for my steps, keep my 15k plus going every day, and get my 4 gym sessions in. Finish for 2 weeks annual leave from work on Friday, so I'm hoping while I'm off I'll be able to find some time to catch up on that extra workout that I missed a couple of weeks back. I just want to stay ahead of the game, and in the back of my head I'm thinking I've missed a workout and I just want to try and catch up in that over the next couple of weeks.
That sounds like a plan to me. But don't beat yourself up over missing that workout.
No, not at all.
You did 4 last week, right? So
my numbers don't match just now though, and it's freaking me out on my spreadsheet.
I do hear that, being a numbers man myself, is that things don't balance. Nikki?
Just maintaining, just carrying on going, get my workouts in, get my steps in. Last week was a bit slow in terms of steps, hit my target still, but didn't increase as much as I wanted to just from being at home and driving so much. But yeah, get my steps in, get my workouts in, just have another good week.
Good luck. Fiona?
I think mine this week is going to be trying not to fall back into the lull, if that makes sense, and just keeping I know I call it motivation, but it's not what I mean, but just keeping that sort of vibe going. And I think one of the biggest things for me for that is just getting up in enough time before work. I've got a really bad habit of sleeping really well till about 20 to 9 and then rolling out of bed and then logging on. But then it sets up for the rest of the day then, because I go into a quick meeting and then I'll go and have my shower like halfway through the day, and I just need to sort of like get into that momentum of getting up early enough and doing something before work is going to be my goal. And then just not, I think whenever I fall into like a bit of a lull, I have those initial like, oh, I'm not doing very well at this. And then I have to be really careful about where that goes, because if it carries on, it rolls into every single day. Yep. And I've just got to try and manage that even if I do feel like I'm not doing that great, not letting it sort of snowball, if that makes sense.
I'm going to challenge you to something then. You said your thing is walking the dog.
Yeah.
So why don't you try and walking the dog every morning before work?
Yeah, I know. I should. I'm relying on my dad quite a bit for that, because he's getting close to retiring. He's like, oh, I'm going to go up a mountain today, and off he trots for the entire of the dog. So I do need to get in there first. I do look after my dog. I'm a responsible dog owner.
No, I didn't say you didn't. No, I just said because that you just said that was your thing, and I thought if that's something you actually enjoy doing, then it might be something that you're prepared to get up and do, and then you've got some steps in before you even start work.
Yeah, exactly.
But you don't have to do it. I just thought that was. I'm not going to make you, but Nikki.
Check in every morning at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Have you walked your dog?
Yeah. Are we going to report you to the RSPCA yet?
I give you the 12 o'clock.
So, good luck with getting the dog out before 9. So if not, I'm sending Nikki.
I'll come home again. I should have popped in to say hi on my way back. Not a problem.
So for me, for the week ahead is remember that I've got a little bit of an injury, so manage that. But I've got to get on top of my challenge goals. My press ups are falling behind. My steps are falling behind. But I was made redundant, well, not been made redundant, but I've been told we're being made redundant last Thursday. So I found that I was spending a lot more time in front of the laptop, just applying for work, trying to get my own business set up. And I've, over the weekend, I would spend so much time in front of the laptop on top of doing podcast conversations and, other Zoom calls and things like that, that I need to remember to get up and move and get my steps in. So it's just about getting back to my goals, remembering what they are. And I think, as Fiona sort of said, is, getting them fitted in with a plan and reminding myself that actually that's important to me as well. And if I actually take some time away from the laptop, I'll probably be more productive. So that, and other than that, try and find a job. So if anybody's listening and they need, a high caliber business person in the business, and you're willing to pay a reasonable amount of cash, then hit me up. So I'll do anything. That's maybe not something to put out on the internet.
Caveat quickly.
But Chris, I'm in sales as well. So if the business you're working for is recruiting, then I'm an exceptional salesman. That's what every salesman says.
Are you interested in dog walking by any chance? Dog.
I'm going to turn up at your house and be like, "Morning, time for your walks." Off we go.
Do it together.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long commute, though. 2.5 hours up to Manchester and then back. But if you, I didn't say I wouldn't. You just need to talk about your salary so that you're offering.
He'll turn up and he'll be like, "Walkies," and the dog will be like really excited, like, "No, not you."
Oh dear. Well, that sounds like an appropriate place to end. So thank you everybody for joining. That's a really long podcast, but I think we've touched a deep and meaningful topic that we've made entertaining, even without Paul towards the end. So it shows that we can do it. I hope everybody's still enjoying listening. You might have seen that the numbers have dropped. I think that everybody else is still doing a challenge, and I'm sure that it will keep changing week by week. But if anybody wants to join us, then you're more than welcome to join us and tell us how your challenge is going. So just drop me a message, and go and give us a follow on Facebook at Podcast Conversations With, or on Instagram at podcast_conversations with, and share us on your stories and posts, and I'll reshare them as well. So but we appreciate everybody listening, and I'm glad to hear that you, as listeners, you've been contacting some of our guests as well, because that's massive for the podcast. So thank you, and we will speak to you all next week. There is a season 1 individual episode dropping at some point this week as well. So go and give that a listen after you've listened to this. Thank you very much.